Hello, everyone. My name is Nekme Obasogi, reporting from Toronto, Canada. We are here today to discuss about Edo State politics and some issues of security in the state. I have with me today, all the way from Tanzania, Ambassador Matthew Biki Uwaifu. Hello, sir. Can you hear me? Sir? Hello.
Yes, I can hear you, and it's with a glad heart,
Thank
uh,
you, sir.
Basoge, to appear in your program again after some time. Thank you very
Yes.
much for having me. Yes,
You are welcome back, sir, and happy New Year to you. Prosperous New Year to you, sir.
the same. And Happy New Year and prosperous, full with blessings ahead. And Happy New Year to all subscribers of Nebo TV and followers of Nebo TV. May your year be filled with God's blessings and stupendous health. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, sir. Thanks.
Thank you.
So, it has been a while that we have hosted you on Nebo TV. We want to know more about what is going on in Edo State. I know that you have been following the trend. You are very current with the political climate of Edo State. So, yesterday, we received a breaking news that APC candidates in Edo State were disqualified by the courts. So, and in the evening, towards in the evening time, we also received a news that Ize Iyamu responded to the disqualification of himself and his deputy. And over these few days, we have been receiving some issues of security in the state. And they said that some inmates or detainees escaped from state CID in Edo State as well, in Benin City. Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you. I'm
Okay.
giving you time
Yeah.
to finish
Mm.
my response.
Yeah. They said some detainees. I don't know what happened because the news was not detailed enough for us. That some detainees escaped from state CID in Benin City. So tell us more about what is going on, especially about what happened yesterday in the courts.
Uh, Thank you very much once again for having me. You see, uh, I will just go straight, first of all, to the court and tell you the issues surrounding the court and the internet confusion by shenanigans and propagandists. So now, what happened is this: that yesterday, the Benin High Court, which Honorable Justice Courage Ogbebo was sitting as judge, gave a judgment against Abudu Ganiu, against Audu Ganiu Abudu, the deputy governorship candidate of the APC in the last election. Now, to give you a background on the whole issue, the plaintiff of the case, of this particular case, had asked the court to disqualify the candidate, and the plaintiff, the case was brought against Audu Ganiu Audu by the plaintiff, Honorable Sunday Kadiri, alias SPK, from Ogbona Ward in Esako West government area, local government area of Edo State. That is Oshomole's area of Edo State. So somebody in his area was the one who raised the case against Ganiu. And this same Ganiu was from Edo North, which is the same place from where
Mm.
uh, uh, Oshomole
Oshomo.
comes from. And according to the news, it was Ganiu has always been Oshomole's candidate. So it was Oshomole that hosted, that posed Ganiu on the APC. But having said that, what the plaintiff was saying was that the court should disqualify Ganiu as candidate for deputy governorship from participating in the elections on account of having allegedly given false information to the electoral commission to aid his qualification for the election. And he prayed the court to annul the candidacy of Ize Iyamu as the APC candidate for governor on account of running with an unqualified candidate for deputy governor. Now, this is what is normally done. It happened in Bayelsa. When Bayelsa did the election, the governor won, but his deputy was found to have fake certificates. And so the election was nullified, and the second person won the election, which was the PDP candidate, Governor Diri. Now, having said that, the case against Audu Ganiu Abudu was that he submitted 5 different certificates with 5 different names to INEC. That was the case. And that was a case of, because you cannot, and the High Court investigated the matter, checked all the case, checked the whole issue before them, and came up with the decision in a well-considered judgment by Honorable Justice Courage Ogbebo. The court nullified the candidacy of governorship and deputy governorship candidate of the APC in the September 19 election. Now, don't forget, this case was filed before the elections. It was not filed now. It was filed before the elections. And it was supposed to stop Ize Iyamu from running as governorship candidate. Now, if you remember in all your programs, and if the subscribers and supporters of Obaseki and all Edolites remember, I did personal videos, over 20 of them, in which I quoted the relevant laws. This was not about Ize Iyamu or about Obaseki. It's about the rule of law, obeying your constitution, which we have all agreed guides the country. And according to the constitution and the laid down laws, the Electoral Act and the INEC Act, I made it very clear, and I sang with it, that Ize Iyamu is not supposed to be a candidate in that election. But you see, this judgment that is given now is a judgment against forgery. And I am very sure the APC and Ize Iyamu knew that Ganiu had fake certificates. And that is why they brought up the issue of Obaseki having forged the certificate to divert attention from their real cause in order to satisfy their supporters. But I must tell you here right now that the story on the ground and on the internet going around is that certain people are saying that 3 weeks ago, the Federal High Court in Abuja, the Federal High Court gave a judgment against Obaseki, and that he gave the judgment in favor of Ize Iyamu and Audu Ganiu Abudu. It was given in favor of them, and that it was given with cost. So Edo State court has no powers to be able to pass the judgment they gave today. That judgment is null and void. And I want to clear it here categorically that most of the information are given by propagandists of the opposition camp. There are so many internet influencers on the pay of the opposition camp, on the pay of Oshomole. So they are the ones spreading this wrong information. The judgment given 3 weeks ago, I must clear it to you, my dear sister. That judgment given 3 weeks ago was about if I'm not, it was simply the judgment, the earlier judgment of the court 3 weeks ago was about a waiver. It's a waiver, and it is not. It has nothing to do with the qualification of Ize Iyamu or his deputy. It had nothing to do with it. Now, that waiver that judgment was given in form of the APC. The waiver was granted. And why was it granted? In our laws, in a Supreme Court law, that between the APC and Suleiman, it was a Supreme Court judgment. It was very clear. The Supreme Court made it clear that the courts have no power to interfere into the internal affairs of a party, that the party can choose anybody they want for president or disqualify anybody. And that judgment was quoted when Obaseki was disqualified from the APC. And the judges of the Supreme Court gave a recommendation. They said, if you are aggrieved that your party has disqualified you, then you can go and join another party and run in that party. And if the party accepts you, you can run for the election. That is why Obaseki going to the PDP had no local standing. Nobody could sue him to court for that, and nobody is talking about that. So in this case, the people who brought the case, the PDP and some members of the APC, this case was before the election also, who brought the case, were challenging the court to declare that Oshomole had no power as chairman of APC to give a waiver to Ize Iyamu to contest in the primaries or to contest in an election. That was the issue in the case of 3 weeks ago. It had nothing to do with qualification of candidates or disqualification of candidates. So the court went through their books and checked the precedent and came with a judgment that yes, Oshomole was correct to have given a waiver to Ize Iyamu. And they said, according to law, they cannot interfere in that matter. So the case was judged in APC's favor with cost. So, but the judgment yesterday was about forgery.
Forgery is different. Yeah.
Yes, there are two different things. Forgery of certificates and forgery in the high dimension, because he had 5 certificates in 5 different names. That is the truth. That is the fact of the case. And the judge, after carefully examining the evidences before him, found Ganiu Abudu guilty as charged by the plaintiff, and judged in favor of the plaintiff. You know, he judged in favor of the plaintiff, Sunday Kadiri, alias SPK. So it was judged in his favor. Obaseki didn't take the APC to court. Obaseki didn't take Ize Iyamu and Ganiu to court. It was Sunday Kadiri, Honorable Sunday Kadiri from Esako West local government area, the same area with Oshomole. So what I'm saying is this.
Really? Okay, who is this Kadiri, sir? Who is this Kadiri? Who is this Kadiri in Edo State?
It's Honorable Sunday Kadiri from the same local government area. That's all I can tell you for now, you know, so that we can go ahead, because this is not about personality.
The Kadiri is a candidate, or the Kadiri himself is a PDP member?
You see, as at the time this case went to court, Kadiri, Sunday Kadiri, was an APC member. This case was before the elections. And don't forget, there are other cases. There is the case by Ozono, who of the National Redemption Movement, who said that the courts should tell Nigerians, after due construction of Section 183, Section 222A, and Section 223 of the Constitution of Nigeria, whether Ize Iyamu has been correctly presented to INEC according to the Constitution and law of Nigeria. And also, he also said that according to the Electoral Act, Section 51 and Section 153, Section 83 and 153, that they should tell us whether INEC was correct in accepting Ize Iyamu as his candidate. And to just give you a quick rundown about this, all those sections, what do they say? Only the chairman of a party and the secretary general of a registered party can put forward a candidate to INEC. And the people who put forward Ize Iyamu's candidacy was Mai Malam Buni, the governor of Yobe State, who is today the caretaker chairman, the chairman of a caretaker committee, not the chairman of APC as a party, and Senator Udodera, who was the secretary general of the caretaker committee, not the secretary general of the party. So in law, they had no powers to present Ize Iyamu's name to INEC. That's one. And number two, the Constitution is very clear, and the APC Constitution too was very clear. You cannot hold two executive posts in the party at the same time. Mai Malam Buni was the executive governor of Yobe State, and at the same time, he cannot be the caretaker chairman of the party, because the post of caretaker chairman is an executive position. He cannot hold the two simultaneously. And to prove that, before Mai Malam Buni was the secretary general of the APC, but he had to resign his secretary generalship and contest as governor of Yobe State, and he won. So there is no local standing in law for him to come and present Ize Iyamu. The correct person who would have presented Ize Iyamu's name was Giadom. And Giadom wrote a letter to INEC that APC has no candidate in Edo State. So in law, that is the correct position that is supposed to be taken. If Nigeria respects the rule of law, if the presidency respects the rule of law, and if APC respects the rule of law. But this was not to be. And that is why I have kept shouting ever since that I want to see a Nigeria where the rule of law reigns supreme, where we obey the laws we have made, where the Constitution is obeyed, and you cannot go and bring and use illegal processes to host a governorship candidate on a whole state. That is not there. So this judgment that was given yesterday, after all my explanation now, is very holistic. It's the first time that any judgment in any court has been given about the disqualification of Ize Iyamu. And Ize Iyamu was disqualified because they granted the prayer of Honorable Sunday Kadiri that he is running with a compromised man. He is running with a forger of certificates. And that disqualified him, just like what happened in Bayelsa. But what I'm saying is this is not the only law. I made some video 2 weeks ago, and I said, how come that they are in court, charging Obaseki when all these matters have not been settled? So now the matter has been settled, and you are reading in the internet, oh, it is Edo State's High Court is of no consequence. These are being said, as far as I'm concerned, by people who don't know the law, by people who pour aspersions and who pour aspersions on legal officers whose decisions are not palatable or favorable to them. And usually they do all this without evidence. And it is a disservice to our democracy for people who don't know the law, non-legal entities who are not trained in the legal field to begin to quote the Constitution. Sorry, let me just finish. To quote the Constitution out of context and cast aspersion on judges who cannot respond or defend themselves. This is wrong in any civilized society. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Clearly, it's very clear to us now what happened. But some people were saying that, courts in Nigeria can be compromised. And do you think that this decision made by the court in those states in Benin City yesterday will not be reversed by another court in Nigeria?
Listen, let me tell you the truth.
We have seen similar cases in the country over these years.
You see, this is exactly what I'm telling you. People pour aspersions on judges who cannot come in a forum like this to defend themselves. We have one supreme law in Nigeria, and all I have been saying is that those laws must be obeyed. It's not about whether it's Ize Iyamu or whether about Governor Obaseki. No. Who appoints the judges in Nigeria? Is it not the same APC government?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same APC government that appoints judges of the High Court. And the what is it called? The Judicial Service Commission is there, of the lawyers. These are competent judges who have gone through the rigors and the due process of time before they are selected judges. But let me tell you something. There is correspondent jurisdiction. What I mean by that is this: a high court is a high court in Nigeria. Whether the high court in Sokoto State or the high court in Maiduguri or the high court in Benin or high court in Abuja, they are all the same. They carry the same powers. So the judgment given yesterday stands. And Ize Iyamu, no, not final, wait, it stands. And Ize Iyamu has said that he will take, what is it called? He will take appeal, go to the appeals court. Fine, that is welcome. It's allowed. It's his personal right. From appeals court, he can go to the Supreme Court. There is no problem. But the point is this, that the question that the appeals court and Supreme Court will ask is they will re-examine the documents and they will see the evidences. And the evidence is very clear. Those documents are false. Those documents are false. You can't have 5 different names in 5 different certificates.
How can someone?
That's the truth.
Sir, one question. How can one person use 5 different names to register for the INEC form? And during the registration, they didn't say anything. They didn't disqualify him, allow him to run for the governorship election. So why is it like that in Nigeria? Is this country guided by the rule of law or not? Are they not supposed to be assessing the candidate properly before they can be eligible for the first place? Why are we facing this crisis now, this issue of credentials after they have already run and the election is over?
Well, the thing, my sister, is this. I'm not used to insulting the system or, how will I put it, pour aspersions on the system. But nevertheless, in a way, you are correct with what you said, and in other ways, I can disagree. But the point is this. In the legal system in Nigeria, you have a few bad eggs selling their conscience. They are there. Among the 12 disciples of Christ, there was a Judas. So count the population of Nigeria. 200 million divided by 12. 1/12, which is in millions. Judases. So in the law profession, you have Judases. But I have absolute confidence on the judiciary because there are more people that are very, very straightforward and transparent in the judiciary in Nigeria than we are giving credit for. I will not just paint all of them bad. No, not everyone in the judiciary is bad. There are still people who judge according to their conscience.
Not,
I can mention one, although he's retired now,
not,
Justice Uwayas. Justice Uwayas has a famous saying. He said that a corrupt judge is more dangerous than a man with a dagger in a crowded place who wants to stab people. He said that man can be restrained from his act, but a corrupt judge causes more harm both to the conscience of people and more harm to society because he bends the law. And he tell you is that in law, it is said in law. Maybe you are taking it that way because maybe somewhere along the way, I don't mean to say this in a denigrating way. No, maybe somehow the way how the law operates, you have not really gone into it. What I'm trying to say here is this, that the law says, it is very paramount in law. It says you cannot build something from nothing. There had to be a precedent. Now, you said that in Nigeria, that there are, if somebody is not pointed out, he might end up being governor and so on. Is there any instance of anybody with a fake document in Nigeria right now who has ever become governor without showing his correct certificate? You might say that Oshomole didn't show his primary C certificate. He didn't go to primary school. He became governor. He ruled for 8 years. But you see, the truth of the matter is that is still very questionable. It's still very questionable.
yeah.
And the Supreme Court ruled on it that the certificate he presented was okay. So there is no other case of certificate whereby the INEC or the courts ruled in the person's favor. But having said that, I just wanted to point to you that Ize Iyamu's case was very, very different. The APC thought that since they are in power with federal might, they can force him down our throat. Using Oshomole. Oshomole is the one who presented Ize Iyamu, and he used all his connection that he had to make sure that Ize Iyamu was forced on the party. Ize Iyamu's candidate was resisted by members of the APC. He divided the party, and that is why you found out that 2 weeks ago, Anselm Ojezua decamped to the PDP with all his supporters and the genuine supporters who were in APC. So there was a lot of problems in APC. The INEC people, to be frank, tell you the truth, were compromised. They were in no position to say, it's not for the INEC to say that Ize Iyamu cannot be a candidate. It was for the courts to say. And the cases were in court. And what will happen? Ize Iyamu using the federal mind, the APC using the federal mind, said that the cases should be transferred from Benin to Abuja. And the chief judge of Abuja transferred 5 cases to Abuja. He transferred 5 cases to Abuja and said what the APC said was in one of the cases that Judge Taiwo, who was the judge for one of the cases, was a friend to Wike, governor of Rivers State. And as a result, he should recluse himself from the case. And so the man reclused himself for the case. And those cases, pre-election cases, are in Abuja. And nothing is being said about it. And one of them too is the 700 million fraud by the EFCC they brought against Ize Iyamu. It has not been spoken about. So it is now that the cases are coming up. They are being looked at now. And this Edo State judgment yesterday is the first one for judgment to be given. And we are waiting for the remaining cases. And as far as I'm concerned, I say it here and now, and I will continue to say it. Ize Iyamu is not and has never been a candidate in that election. If we want to follow the rule of law, all the laws were broken to make sure Ize Iyamu ran in that election. And thank God, Edo people refused to be fooled, and they knew who they wanted, and they voted for Obaseki. And now, all these things in the court, saying that 3 weeks ago the federal court, the federal court threw out the case, and so on, are just being done by internet influencers on the pay of the APC and the opposition. Simple. And what is their aim? To distract the governor from carrying out his mega agenda, to distract Edo people and cause disillusionment in society and the government. But I'm telling you right here now, they will fail, and they have failed. Everything they tried, they have failed. I still stand here to say it categorically. Ize Iyamu is not a candidate. Now, finally, let me tell you this quickly, sister. If Ize Iyamu is not a candidate, was never a candidate in that election, then what does a non-candidate, somebody who is not a candidate in an election, what is he doing? We're suing somebody who won, who has been genuinely cleared as the winner, and who has been genuinely cleared to run for that election. This is what we are waiting for the federal court in Abuja to decide. I cannot talk more than that, because I will be it will be sub judice. That is talking about a case that is in court. So I will stop there. But what I'm trying to tell you is this.
Okay.
Ize Iyamu, according to the law of Nigeria,
the case
was never a candidate. That's it.
Okay, the court in Abuja is going to preside on what case now?
The court in Abuja, don't forget, I told you that the case brought by the APC and Ize Iyamu against Obaseki, that he forged his certificates, were just a distraction to distract the governor from carrying out his mega agenda, and to cause disillusionment in society among all Edolites worldwide. And what system are they using? The system they are using, you know, they said so many times, they brought out so many options that they are going to sue the governor for. They brought out so many options, and they checked it, that they did not hold water. But what they are doing now is what the information minister of Germany, Goebbels, did during the Second World War. He said, take one truth, clothe it with 99 lies, and keep repeating it until the people believe it in their conscience. You understand the point? Now, that is what they are doing. They brought this certificate in, they keep repeating it, trying to force it into the mental faculty of all Edolites. But they have failed, because just like Oshomole said, that Buhari, when his certificate was being challenged, was being told to bring his certificate. He said somebody who was a second lieutenant, captain in the army, went on to be major general, went on to be a head of state. That how can you say that person is not competent to be a president? The same question. What is good for the geese is good for the gender. Obaseki, who got his first degree, went to Columbus University, went to Pace University in America, came and helped in establishing new generation banks in Nigeria. Formed his own company, Afri Bank Invest, which has helped Dangote to source a lot of money for his business. How can you say that such a man cannot be governor of a small state like Edo State? Somebody who worked for one of the biggest banks in America. In America, you will say that he's not educated to run a state like Edo State. You check, you see the conflict. So what I'm telling you, my sister, is this. All the propaganda, whatever, it will not happen. Why will it not happen? I've always said it. It will not happen. Let the opposition please leave Edo lives alone and leave Edo State alone. Election is finished. Somebody was telling me that time, hey, why are you talking? but I still talking about election. Election is finished. I told them, as far as the cases are in court, elections are not finished. And that's what APC knows. That's what they are trying to do.
Not
To
finished.
distract
Yeah.
from moving forward in our march to El Dorado. We left Egypt when Obaseki was disqualified. We left Egypt. We got to Kenya when he joined the PDP and he won the election. Now, after the election, we are on a march to El Dorado. And for people who don't know what an El Dorado is heaven. A city where the poor becomes rich, a city where there are jobs, a city where there's good health, and a city where there's a new life. Edo State is on a paradigm shift. It is only insanity that makes a man do the same old things he does and expect a different result. We have to change our mindset. Now that Edo State elections are finished, all this going to court, all these shenanigans making unnecessary noise, all these people causing mayhem in Edo State, they are just doing themselves. We must move forward. Edo State must move forward. And I'm telling you the truth. I will just say this. You will see that these cases against Obaseki is just a storm in a teacup. They will have no effect. Come 2024, I boldly declare Obaseki will hand over to another governor of Edo State come 2024. Why do I know? I told you, if you remember my sister, long time before the elections, that come November 12th, 2020, Obaseki will be sworn in as the executive governor of Edo State and the chief security officer. You said, how do I know? I said, because God talks to me also. I'm not a pastor. I don't own a church. But now I'm telling you, my sister, write it down. Obaseki will be there till 2024 by the grace of God, because God is with him. That's the difference between him and the opposition. The opposition can call God. They don't know God. God is with Obaseki. The grace of God is with Obaseki. And up till now, as corrupt as Nigeria is, nobody has been able to tell us that Obaseki stole money or used state money for himself, or tell us any account that he kept the money. So this is why I'm telling you right now that come 2024, Obaseki will be there. Finally, he produced his original certificates just on the 4th when the courts resumed. That was a master stroke. They saw the original. And what was their cry? That his certificate was forged. Why? Because when it was being photocopied, the dates were not did not appear. The man who photocopied it for INEC did not do his photocopying well. That's what they were saying. But on the 4th, he presented his certificate from primary 6 to the university up to America, and the courts accepted it. And not only that, the court equally called subpoenaed. That means they said the University of Ibadan must come to testify, whether they like it or not. If they didn't come, then they would have been charged for contempt of court. That is what I mean by subpoena. And the man who came to represent the University of Ibadan checked the certificate in court and said, we issued this certificate. This is the original. It is correct. Obaseki passed out with a second-class lower division in 1979. And the National Youth Corps certificate is also correct, because the National Youth Service apologized to Obaseki, and you remember he was disqualified. They said there was no I in his name, Obaseki, that his name was Obasek. And remember, I campaigned that time. I said, please, give me this Obasek and keep your eye. If that's the thing, we are going to vote for him. And we voted for him. Now, INEC has added the I. So he's back again as Obaseki. So all these were presented to the court, and they were found to be in order. So let's wait and see what the court will say. I don't want to pronounce certain things because, like I told you, it will be like subjudicing the courts. So I leave it like that. So my sister, what we are saying in effect here is this. All these distractions and disruptions and disturbances, it is time they should stop. After this case, I think they should stop. we want to develop
No,
our state. We want to
sir,
move it to another
sir,
state. All of us in diaspora, one time we want to come home, but we want to come home to a place where there is the rule of law.
the politicians are not obeying the rule of law. They don't obey the rule of law in Nigeria.
But let me tell you, my dear sister, you are very correct. The rule of law in Nigeria under this present APC administration is haphazard. Haphazard. That means it is not clear. What do I mean by that? You have an Attorney General who is the chief law officer of the federal government disobeying over 75 court orders when he is supposed to be the propagator of the rule of law in Nigeria. So what do you expect? And there are so many instances where the law has been, where the rule of law has not been obeyed or managed properly or practiced in the correct way. There are so many instances. Like, for example, under the law, Zamfara state government had no right to sell any gold to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to sell the gold to the central bank. And the central bank had no right to use our money, 5 billion naira, to pay Zamfara state, because according to them, our country is not being restructured. Everything in the ground, according to the Minerals Act, everything in the ground, in the sea, in the mountains, anywhere in Nigeria, belong to the federal government. That is why they can build a pipeline from Port Harcourt to Kaduna and build a line all the way from the south to take to the north, because they say everything on the ground belongs to the federal government. How come that the state of Zamfara is selling gold? Are you now following the 1960 constitution that gave every right to every region to develop their own area with their own resources? How come that the South governors, South people cannot sell their oil to the highest bidder? Why can they not do that?
The crude oil.
That is a break of law in Nigeria. It's a flagrant breakdown of law. I just gave you that example. You understand?
Yeah.
And there are so many others under this regime. We have it as a gentleman's agreement and even put in the constitution that we will go by federal character, where every state in Nigeria is represented in the executive and in the senior post in Nigeria. There must be a mix. But what do we have under this present regime? The head of the army is from the north. The head of the Navy from the north, the head of the Air Force from the north, the head of the police from the north, the head of the prisons from the north, all parastatals from the north. Even in giving scholarship, more northerners get scholarship. And don't remember, during the time of this COVID, palliatives and the sharing out of money to people, the program of the federal government, to give money to the less developed in society, the poor in society. They were paying that money to northerners and saying that the north is very poor. The question is this: now we make them poor? Now we make them poor? There is a law. It says that money belongs to Nigeria, and the money anyway comes from the south, the oil in the south. What is the north exporting overseas? Ask yourself. So what I'm telling you is this: the unparalleled and unequal perchance for misinterpretation of the law is unrivaled. Since I was born, I've never seen a regime like this that totally turned the law to themselves and to equally open it to you, my sister. People have been accusing Buhari, oh, he wants to Islamize Nigeria. He wants to Islamize Nigeria, you know? And he denied. He did not want to Islamize Nigeria, and people were defending him and all that. But while you are sitting down, while I'm sitting down and sleeping, Nigeria is already Islamized. What do I mean? Go and check all the head of all the government parastatals. Check the ministers. Check this. They all have Muslim names.
Yeah.
They all have Muslim names. If you have a Muslim name, then you can be able to get a juicy position. Even when you steal all the government money, according to Shomole, you come to the APC, you are forgiven. So how can you talk of the rule of law under this regime? You see, when people are talking of restructuring, I keep telling them, even now they set up a committee for the constitution in Nigeria. It is not the constitution. The whole constitution needs to be changed completely, because this constitution was written by criminals favoring a certain part of the country. It was written by people that believe in impunity. That constitution is a fraud. And I'm telling you, my sister, with my reply to you now, that makes
The,
it so that you are very correct in your assessment. There is no rule of law in Nigeria right now. There is no
yes,
rule of.
no, yeah.
There are a lot of lawyers, a lot of judges, a lot of human rights activists fighting for the correct rule of law. But the truth of the matter is this: the federal government does not believe in the rule of law. That is the truth. We are living under
At all.
system of justice. That's the truth. So you are correct
And,
in your assessment.
and in this administration, we have seen high level of human rights violation in the country. The government has been infringing the rights of the citizens, especially what happened during the NSAS protest, that the other military to open fire on peaceful protesters. So, and the worst of all, nobody is holding them accountable. Since that Nigeria as a country is not guided by the rule of law anymore. So that's just the thing. So let's move to this issue of security in Nigeria. The issue of security in Edo State, to be precise. Few days ago, we saw on the news that some detainees escaped from state CID. The same thing happened during the NSAS protest, that some prisoners escaped from Oko prison, that later exacerbated high level of insecurity in the state. So a few days ago, the same thing happened in the state CID. So what is your take on this issue of insecurity in Edo State?
What I want to tell you is this. I want to, how do I say it? Set the record straight. The prisoners that escaped from the prison, Anoko prison, they were broken out. They were not released. They were broken out. The prison was broken into by hoodlums, and the hoodlums are the one who set the prisoners free. And those hoodlums, according to my sources, and I brought out evidences, brought out videos on the internet, well, not on the internet and publicly, to show that the prison's officers did not connive with the escape of the prisoners. Now, this second wave, why I said the prisons were broken into, is this. This second wave is completely different from breaking the prison and releasing the prisoners. The truth of the matter is that the prisoners that were made to escape some days ago are the hardcore criminals that were rearrested on the street, robbers, rapists, and people serving life sentence, and people waiting for death sentence to be carried out. They were released, and they were 10 in number in the first thing. These were people whom the security apparatus in Edo State fought very hard to rearrest them and bring them back to prison. So what does this was? And I'm going to tell you here straight away, my sister, the police have connived with these criminals. The police received bribe. And that is why those prisoners were released. Quote me anytime. That is the truth. And that is why you see the police commissioner now asked for what is it called? He asked for a probe and asked for investigation. And during their investigations, they've been able to find out that certain senior police officers were guilty. And those senior police officers, as I speak to you now, have been ordered to be arrested, and some have been arrested. An investigation is still going on. So the release of these prisoners was carried out by rogue elements of the police. I keep mentioning this. For me, I cannot give up hope on Nigeria, on any aspects of Nigeria, because there are still very good Nigerians out there, whether lawyers, whether doctors, name it, whether police, even among the police, there are still very good police. It is the bad elements that bring a bad name. For example, you are in Canada, I am in East Africa. It's some few Nigerians that were carrying drugs and involved in all manners of crime, even in South Africa. If you check them, they are not even up to 1,000. But they are the ones bringing the bad name to all Nigerians living in South Africa, living in
So,
Kenya, living in Canada, everywhere. These are just few elements. Can you say because of these few elements, then all Nigerians are crooks? That is what we are fighting against. So what I'm trying to tell you is this. These people were released. The prisons were not broken into. The police officers released them back to society. And that is very dangerous.
oh
And
my God, very, very.
it comes also to what we have been saying since, that there is no rule of law. Because if there was a rule of law, like in Canada, a policeman who points a gun at a fellow citizen, he shoots that gun, and he knows that there are consequences for shooting that gun, that is accountable to the society, accountable to the family of the man is shooting, accountable to the kindred of the man is shooting, and accountable to the general society. He will think twice. But you see, in Nigeria, we even have a squad called Kill and Go. Kill and Go. We have no value for human life. That is the truth. We have no value for human life. You see, 100 people will die. They will tell you 8 people passed away. We are even told that in the Lekki Bridge, nobody died. Is that not the story that they were passing?
Yeah,
Until
that is the
CNN,
story.
that the guns were not, there was no gunshots until CNN brought out their tape, you know. So what we are saying is this, that right now, Nigeria is in a state of anarchy. And if we are not careful, if the government does not retrace itself, even in the Bible, it is written, it says, and that is in Ecclesiastes, it says that people continue to carry out crimes because there are no consequences for their crime. So any society where you have no deterrent is a problem. Everybody in Nigeria, most Nigerians right now, are lawbreakers. When they break the law, nothing happens. A policeman shoots somebody, nothing happens. Imagine hardcore criminals working effort, the state governor spending his money, helping the police, encouraging the police, buying vehicles for the different security apparatus and all that and so on. And you arrest all these hardcore criminals, and some corrupt policemen go and set them free on the street. I think I can use this forum now to say the police commissioner for Edo State, Kukomo, should do something about it and do it fast. Otherwise, we start suspecting him also as a criminal. That is the truth. He should do something. This is just too much for Edo people to bear. We cannot work so hard. Vigilantes fighting, some being killed by Fulani herdsmen, some being killed by other people, and what will happen? You set the people that have been put under your charge, instead of charging them to court, they are set free. I think this is something that is completely out of line. And the police commissioner should do everything in his power to make sure that those police officers are punished and those criminals are brought back to jail. That is it. Otherwise, himself, if he cannot do it, and do it in the shortest possible time, he should be removed from Edo State. It's not worthy to be a police commissioner in Edo State. It means he has been compromised. That is it. That's my take on it, madam.
We have big problem in Nigeria, sir. Big problem. Big problem. Some people believe that the problems facing the country will be very difficult for the Northerners who are leading the country right now to solve. So breaking up like secession would be a solution to the problems of the country. Right now, many groups are coming out agitating for secession in Nigeria because of the situation of the country. Mm.
Yes, I hear what you are saying, but let me tell you the truth. Those agitations will not work. You know why I said it will not work?
Mm.
Forget the people who make noise on internet, make noise everywhere. How are you going to disintegrate Nigeria?
Yeah.
How is the war they are talking? How will it come from about in Nigeria? Who is going to die in Nigeria? There is so much intermarriage right now. I have sisters married to Igbos from Enugu State,
Mm.
from Abia State.
Mm.
I have my
Okay.
auntie is married to a Malam, the Imam of a mosque in Kano. My sister is married to Imam of a mosque in Kano. And there's a Kano man married to my cousin. You understand? A Kano man who is a Muslim. He saw my sister, he fell in love and married. So now, tell me, am I going to shoot my in-laws from the east or shoot my in-laws from the north? Or do you think the northerners too, they are not suffering? The problem we have, I have stayed in the north for a long time. And the problem we have is that most people in the south read the book from the cover and judge the book by reading just only the cover. The truth of the matter is a lot of Hausa are suffering in the north, and the north is made of so many tribes. I think it is time that Nigerians should focus and know that the Fulani is our problem. The
Yes.
Fulani. It's time we say it the way it is. The Fulani is our problem. The Hausas in Kano, the Alumajiris, are they not Hausa? Go to Zamfara State, the Jigawa State. The North has the highest number of poor people in Nigeria. They
I
have the
know.
highest number of children of out of school in Nigeria. So what has happened is that an oligarchy, there is a Fulani empire being developed, and they want to make Nigeria their headquarters. And the truth of the matter is this: ask yourself, why is Nigeria building a railway line to Niger Republic? What's our
Niger.
problem
Yeah.
with Niger Republic? Why is it that the in-law of a brother
Guys, we have to end this show like this. I think tomorrow we'll come back. I'll bring Mr. Magnus Oraka